GMEAdmin Insights, the podcast dedicated to the GME community. I'm your girl, Natasha Brox, and I am thrilled to be back with you today. You know, I talk a lot about professional development, connections, networking, and growth. And I like to have people on the podcast that brings insight and growth and meaningful information to the GME community. And with that, today, my guest is Marie Hugley. Marie is a resourceful and innovative leader serving the GME community at UCLA as an assistant director. She finds inspiration in the training and mentoring of others, developing project teams, professional development, and community building. Marie also contributes to the program oversight and the accreditation review of 105 residencies and fellowship programs. Slide. She currently applies her love of learning to the Transformative Leadership Master Program and a recently completed Women's Leadership Institution through the UCLA Anderson School of Business Executive Education. That's a mouthful. She is a mother, an advocate for personal development and empowerment for women, which I love. And in her free time, Marie creates arts and crafts. She writes and stays active with mountains and oceans nearby. I love that. Thank you, Marie, for being here with us today. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, 105 residency programs and fellowship programs. That's a lot.
Yes, it is. It is. But I worked up to this. So the first this is my third institution that I've worked within, and the first one was 13, and then the second one was 99, and now we're at about 105. So it's a team. It requires it. It's a team effort.
Yes. So they were just the other ones was just preparing you for now.
Yes, which I didn't know, but that's great.
Yeah, that's how it is sometimes. You know, I also wanted to ask you about this Transformative Leadership Master's Program. What was that?
So that is something that I'm currently enrolled in. It's new. And for anybody that has been thinking about, thinking that they're too old to go back to school, well, I'm going back to school, and I've been around for a while. So I just, this is offered by the California Institute of Integral Studies, and it's a virtual program. It's kind of like a change management master's, but more creative, more high level systems thinking. And I would say more for creatives. So people that really enjoy thinking out of the box, people that want to create cultural shifts. And yeah, I'm happy to report more as soon as I dive in a couple weeks.
Wow, that seems interesting. But that's good because you continue to learn, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody should stop learning. You can continue to learn, and that's what this is. Yeah, we'll have to do a follow-up because I would love to see what you thought about it and what you learned from it after. How long is the course?
It'll be a little more than 2 years for me, just because I am very busy, but I have a daughter, and working full time, and
Yes.
I'm just gonna kind of power through. But so I was enrolled in a master's program several years ago, but my daughter was too young, and it was like a adult education master's, but it just became, I really just had to make a choice, and I chose to just give that time to my daughter. And now she's a little older. And I just feel like I have the ability to kind of juggle it, make it work a little bit more. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know what? That's what I did. I know there was somebody asked me at a couple of conferences ago about that. Like, how do you, because, I'm back in school. I'll get my master's in December. And somebody asked you, like, how are you doing this and getting your master's? So, but my kids are grown now. I did stop. I took care of that. My kids, I shouldn't call them that, but I took care of my kids.
Yeah.
And that now they're old enough And I'm like, okay, now let me focus back on me. And so I completely understand what you're saying about that. Sometimes you have to take a step back and focus on what is the priority at that time in your life.
Yeah.
And then you go back to you. So, but it's all about the choices that we have to make, for our circumstances. So I truly understand what you're saying about that. Okay, well, we'll check back in and see
That's
how.
accountability for me. So it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it is. I'm gonna keep you your feet to the fire on that, and let us know how it goes. I didn't know that. So it's really like an accredited master's course.
It is. It is.
Okay.
And also, I feel like it can kind of be looked at in the realm of coaching, transformative, um, just developing. So yeah, coaching as well as, so you can apply it both possibly in GME with
Mhm.
residents, professionalism education, um, change management. There's always changes in GME, always,
Yeah,
always. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, and then there's something like even if you don't stay in GME, you can always
yeah,
take it with you.
yeah,
So it's something that you have for yourself, no matter what.
yes.
So what about this Women's Leadership Institution? What's that?
So UCLA, it's like continuing education through the UCLA, or the Anderson School of Business, and it's
Mhm.
called the Women's Leadership Institute. And you can apply for it, and they accept students. And then it's 6 weeks, and you go through this intensive, different types of courses on like negotiation, um, your personal brand, your presence,
Mhm.
executive presence, things like that. Oh my gosh, there's so much. I'm trying to think offhand what else. So many different things, so many different topics related to leadership and development. So
And they focus that more on females.
yes.
That's
Mhm.
good. Because you got to think a lot of times things are not made for us, right?
Mhm.
So having this, it actually teaches you the skills that a woman would need in certain surroundings, like maybe being in the C-suite,
Mhm.
how to stuff like that.
Yeah, also like teamwork, collaboration, communication, how we're presenting ourselves and how that affects what we get, what we're able to achieve.
Right.
So there's just so many really interesting things, and also a lot about diversity and just women and how women are represented differently, how
Mhm.
often emails are written differently, like how we can level up. So
Right. Right. That's neat.
mhm.
Um, is it just for anybody within or?
It's for anybody. You don't have to be you don't have to be going to school or working for UCLA.
Hmm,
So yeah,
okay.
it's definitely worth it. And it's nice, it's not a degree, it's a certificate, but it's nice to have,
Right.
it looks
Right.
good and it's a good name, and
Right.
it was an incredibly useful program. So
And that's what I was thinking about, like just having that understanding, because a lot of times you can go to school, you may have your bachelor, your master, but some things are not taught, you
yeah.
know, so you have other certificate programs that teaches you different things in different environments. And that's worth looking into for anybody. Um, I know my schedule a little hectic right now, but that's something I may look into,
Mhm.
because I
So
love growing.
yeah, so there's one of the sessions, there was a speaker that actually, she's at UCLA, Cassie Holmes, and she talked about routine to ritual, and how, and in terms of time management and how we utilize our time, how we can strategically utilize our time to make it more of a ritual, to make it more of, I like the idea of like a legacy. So even the time that you have with your child, or somebody that you manage, is it just a Zoom meeting that you just discuss what are your updates, or is it like, okay, let's sit down, let's talk about, these specific goals, let's talk about, different things that you've done this week to work towards your self-care or your well-being. Let's look at different, just maximizing those 20, like how are you maximizing like a 20-minute block
Right.
every week, like a recurring 20-minute block, and what you can actually do with that. So yeah.
Right. To get more out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's mm, yeah, like I said, something for everybody that can they can look into. See, this is why I love this because it's spreading the knowledge
Yeah.
throughout the GME community. Um, so let's get into Marie. Um, we've met, different times before. We've seen each other at ACGME where I was like, oh, ACGME. But take us through your journey. Tell us about Marie and, your journey here in GME.
Sure. So my journey in GME, I mean, it's a long story, but I'm going to condense some things here. Um, I was living in Chicago, um, and I started my family.
Mhm.
I needed to move closer to my parents, so I moved back to Wisconsin, where I'm from. It took me quite a while to find another job. Also, I had an infant, so it just once I did find that job, it was in healthcare, and I had experience working in a fundraising office for City of Hope in Chicago. And I believe that that was like just a little tiny bit of experience that I needed to get my foot in the door in this hospital at Aurora Healthcare in Green Bay, Wisconsin,
Mhm.
and as a patient access rep. So I already had my bachelor's degree and everything, but obviously I really just needed to get in the door and to know people and to start, because I was having a really hard time being considered. I don't know if it was because my resume said mostly Chicago. It was very administrative, but it did have mostly Chicago, more like bigger cities, right? A little bit in New York. So I needed to kind of just get in. So that is where I got in, and I started that position, and I was there for about 6 months. And that was a definitely a learning experience. I was checking people in outpatient
Mhm.
radiology, and whew, there's a
Yeah.
whole lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So being more of like front of house as opposed to like working in an office in the back where
Mhm.
you're, utilizing your um maybe some other skills to kind of like plan and strategize and implement kind of in the front, on the front line.
Mhm.
So anyway, after 6 months, I applied for a position in GME, which I didn't even know what GME was, but I applied for it. It required it, which a lot of people don't,
Right.
especially people aren't
Exactly.
really getting degrees in graduate medical education, right?
Um,
So I did get, I was offered an opportunity to go to Milwaukee, Aurora Healthcare in Milwaukee, to be an administrative assistant institutional coordinator, well, which turned into an institutional coordinator at Aurora Healthcare in Milwaukee at St. Luke's Hospital. So I moved the two of us to Milwaukee, and we were there for 4 years, and I learned the ins and outs of the institutional coordinator position and GME as a whole. I learned so much in that position. There were 13 programs. I was involved in almost all aspects, onboarding, offboarding, so orientation, graduation. There was the shared noon conference series. I'm probably still doing it. It was an excellent series, where it's a GME wide conference where the residents and fellows have an opportunity to present the work that they're doing,
mhm.
and to the group, to their peers. And it was really great. It was once a month, and there were just so many different moving parts to that, and it was great to and then there were also speakers that would come in. So that was one thing that I really enjoyed. I created a resident spotlight.
Oh,
There's like a newsletter, resident spotlight there. I worked with all the program coordinators and then the DIO and the Office of Academic Affairs. It was just kind of like a great place to learn everything GME. And
mhm.
then, so also in Milwaukee, there's the Medical College of Wisconsin, and that is, medical college, right? And they had a very large GME group. So they had 99 programs. And so I'm trying to remember now if I reached out to a posting or if they kind of just, I think something was posted and then I called the people that I knew there, because we had worked with that. I had communicated with them in the past.
Mhm.
And I believe that's how that happened. And it came together very quickly. And so I made a transition to institutional coordinator at the Medical College of Wisconsin. And I did that role for also about another 4 years. And that was, again, an amazing learning opportunity. I had a different DIO, different GME structure, very different GME structure. That was interesting because GME was separate, but a part of the medical school. So
Mhm.
a separate entity, right? So MCWA was called, Medical College of Wisconsin Affiliated Hospitals. That's so part of the Medical College of Wisconsin. So yeah, and then yeah, it's kind of a crazy experience because the I reported to the DIO, but I also worked with directly with the GME manager,
Mhm.
and she was tragically killed in a car accident, which
Oh,
is,
wow.
yeah, it was insane. Her and her some of her family members, and
Oh,
it was so tragic. Nothing that you would ever think would ever happen, you know.
yeah.
And it really, I guess it just really reinforced this, like, don't take life for granted. Make sure to embrace everything that comes to you and live your life. And anyway, so I was there for about 4 years, and I kept seeing this position pop up for, I don't know, at a certain point I was casually kind of looking, wasn't sure what was going on. They had hired a new manager. I did not get that position. They hired a new manager, and then I was, kind of just settling into my role, my life there. But then this position popped up online, and I kept seeing it for UCLA Assistant Director. And at first I was like, no, I don't think that. But then I was like,
Right.
but I kept seeing it, and I was like,
Yep.
I think I might need to look into this because I have the skills that they are requiring. I've worked with this comparable number of programs, and yeah, and it just, everything was aligned, right? I met with several, it was all it was interesting, it was all women, but I met with all different women, and all virtually, and several interviews. And the chief of staff at the medical school here, at the David Geffen School of Medicine here at UCLA, she had a special connection with Wisconsin, and there are just several other things that kind of clicked, and it ended up coming together. And they gave me a chance, and they said, well, when can you come out? And so that's how that happened. Yeah. And
Mhm.
so then I've been here for 2 years.
Mhm.
It's been amazing. It's been a really, just being in another part of the country, but also just, I'm learning so much, so
Mhm.
much. And it's a combination of trying to appear competent, be competent, but also be humble, but also be,
Yeah.
so being reactive, but yet being proactive. But yeah, there's just so many different things swirling. So just learning how to balance it all.
And not letting that your maybe fear get in the way. It's like
Yeah.
you can do it.
Yeah.
And you have the knowledge, right? So go in there, figure it out. You have the knowledge and get it done. And you may be bringing another way of doing things that makes it better, in
Yeah.
the long run. So
And, and I will say that working for several different institutions
yeah,
can be amazing for anyone, because you learn so many different ways that things are done, or not so many, but a few different ways that things are done. And you bring all of that with you in your bag of tricks.
yeah, yeah. And what you learn at one institution, they may not be doing it, but it could help them.
Right.
They could be like, no, but it could still help them because another institution does it another way. So you brought it over. So you just never know.
Right.
Um, yeah, as you learn along the way. Well, that's good. Wow. When things align, my sister always told me, like, if it becomes too hard, don't do it because it's not meant for you. It's like trying to get your body through a keyhole. You cannot do it. Why are you going through those scrapes and that pain? You need, if it's for you, it's going to work and you won't have to force it. Like what happened to you. It just
Yeah.
aligned and boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. Um, and never be afraid of like growth. And even if it means, going to another state. My grandmother always said, go where your degree takes you.
Mhm.
If it's not in the city that you're in, then go somewhere else. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
So that's good. It goes back to my next question I want to ask you. Uh, Not just about, motivation of professional growth, but specifically, I know you like to like advocate for females, um, especially and this is the question: is it specifically in the GME field or just altogether?
No, it's something that I have an interest in from my own life experience. It's more of a personal interest that I've been carving out for the last, I would say, 4 years.
Mhm.
And like I have a website. I'm writing I'm writing something about empowerment, and especially for single working moms. And so
Oh,
that
really?
is, yeah, and so that is where that comes from. But it's not aligned with I haven't figured out how to mix it all together. I haven't figured out how to mix the personal and the professional into one. And I'm hoping that maybe the degree will help with that a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, I definitely, yeah, I have a passion for that, being able to teach people, or not teach people, but help people realize their potential, help,
Yes.
right. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I completely understand. And I think that's why, another reason why I created Jimmy Admin Insights, because um, a lot, especially when I first got into it, it was like just a well, people looked at it as a secretarial role.
yeah,
And I'm like, no, it's
that's
not.
not fair. Yeah, I know.
Right. We're not secretaries.
Mhm.
There's just so much more. And a lot of coordinators are just going with it. Like, well, they said this. I'm like, no, but we do this, this, and this. And I'm so passionate about that. I'm passionate about GME and I'm passionate about like helping others speak not just their truth, but like their words,
Mhm.
like you can do this. You can do this. You're not a secretary. We do this, name it. Our program sits on our shoulders, and without us, there's no program, like literally.
I 100% agree with you. So I have not worked in a program coordinator role. Like, I have not been embedded in a program before. I've always been in the GME office, but I agree with you 1,000%. And so at UCLA, our program coordinators work within their departments. They don't work, we do not have oversight over our program coordinators in our GME office.
Mm.
So we are slightly limited with what we do. It's wonderful uh, program coordinator learning series we can talk about later. But I did want to mention though that I completely agree with you. And I think that if this position, I will just say this, maybe it's controversial, I don't know, but this position, if it was historically a male role,
Hmm.
it would be a manager position. 100% it would be a manager position.
Yeah.
What is in this role, what is required, the program coordinator role, and what is required
Right.
is a lot.
Yes,
It's so much.
it
And
is.
it should be looked at as a manager position.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
maybe, coordinator to manager track, right?
Mhm.
Which we
Yeah.
do have, some of the departments at UCLA do that. So
Yeah.
so that's amazing. So some of our program coordinators are managers as well, yeah.
Yeah, they should. It should be regardless. It should be a program manager because you're managing the program, your own
Right.
program. There's no one else, to help you. When you're in that seat, it's you. Now, of course, you have your PD, maybe your APD, but when it's down to the wire, it's you doing onboarding, doing offboarding, doing checklists, doing, CME's doing everything. Like it's you,
Yeah.
who's doing the work. So you are managing that position. But,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
ultimately, yeah, and ultimately, I just work to try to provide the resources and the training and the inspiration, I think, for the program coordinators to be able to be as successful as possible. And
You're in
because we
the good seat
definitely
for
do
it
what we,
though.
what was that?
Yeah. I said you're in the good seat for it though, being on in the GME office, just to help them, so that's good, especially with everything they have going on.
Yeah, yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Some program coordinators, like I know I didn't, and I came from a medical school. I didn't have a GME office, so I had to do not only the program work but the GME work as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Mhm.
those, who don't have a GME office, we were like, we need one. We need one. But yeah, so it's like double the work, right?
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. Overwhelming.
Mhm.
So what do you think like your biggest motivator is for professional development?
Oh, well, taking care of my family.
No.
But in terms of, I guess I would say for my own professional development.
Mhm. Well, yeah, because like for me, my motivation is, and I guess we kind of hit on that, but my motivation is like, for my professional development is sharing it with others, to make sure they grow as well, to make
Mhm.
sure they get the resources that they need, understanding that they need to grow,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that in every role that I've had, I've really tried to do a lot to promote and
Mhm.
support the program coordinators and the administrators in their roles, because I really, that's the foundation. I feel like it's such a huge part of the foundation. I mean, even when there's a new program director, a lot of times they have to look at the program coordinator to kind of learn and to grow with them and to understand the yearly cycle of duties and things like that. So um, definitely supporting that role is a
Mhm.
huge part of my motivation. But yeah.
Well, and I know like program coordinators, they deal with a lot. They have a lot of different tasks. And then you're dealing with over like 105 programs, residency and fellowship. How do you navigate through that?
Really, you really have to be organized, and you have to have good people that you work with. We have a wonderful data manager who has been instrumental in helping us because so we have a DIO. I have a DIO that started not long before me. And he is amazing, and he's doing all this amazing oversight, and we're doing special reviews, and we're having meetings on oversight meetings to discuss how we're going, the workflow for special review, the workflow for determining which programs are in special review. And then we have our data manager. We brought in our data manager so she could provide like really great key insights, analytics, data visualization for the programs to understand where their surveys are at, where those the domains out of compliance are. Those domains out of compliance, how are they tracked? When are they tracked?
Mhm.
Um, so kind of really just taking like a high level overview of it and saying like, okay, well, we'll be able to view this when you all um, update your I'm sorry, update your web ads,
Mhm.
and then also in your annual program evaluation. And if there's programs that are not doing that, or if they're just not aligned with the guidance that is being shown, that maybe we would do a special review to kind of reinforce that, or not reinforce it, but just to understand,
Wow.
to dig deeper, doing town halls and things like that. And so, and then we try to also focus on those programs that are kind of flying under the radar a little bit more. And why are they flying under the radar? Just really just it's just it has to be organizing and just an organizational flow that works with different team members leading different efforts. So yeah.
Mm, okay. So almost you work with the
Oh,
team just like the program coordinators work with a team to get it done.
yeah, and I will say we have a huge accreditation dashboard that
Oh.
we have like a master dashboard
Oh.
that literally has all the info if they're, and it's color coded, it's, I guess, the heat map, right? So it's got all of
Mhm.
the data, all of the, if there's any red flags that are on it, that you would find those on it. You would find, let's see, domains out of compliance, even AFIs, whether it's the domain surveys the survey domains out of compliance or citations, it's all there. So that's kind of, and then we can sort it and we can work with that. We got to have that. Otherwise, it doesn't work with all those programs. So
You have your digital tools to help you navigate
yeah.
everything. Right. So thankful for all the digital tools we have. And that dashboard probably gives you like a bird eyes view of everything that's going on.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, we even have, like, if there's a site visit, that will go, the date will go on the dashboard as well. And then we have a process for the site visits and sending out the right materials, the right instructions for the site visit. And then just, we work with Box a lot. I don't know if you work with Box, just a shared drive. It's like a,
Yeah.
virtual cloud
Yeah.
drive, right? So just a lot of big systems to kind of
Yeah.
get to the details.
Right. Right. And I know you talked about because not everyone has a GME program coordinator leadership committee. So talk about that and like the foundation of that, how I got started and how it has like helped coordinators.
Sure. So one of the reasons that I was hired in my role
Mhm.
was to help to create resources for program coordinators and to kind of work with the program coordinator, more the seasoned program coordinators, to develop some type of committee. And so, yeah, it's in its second. This will be, actually, no, this will be the third year, starting, I guess, in July. It's the third year and it's going really well. We're on our second chair. Well, third, we had an interim chair, and then now we have a new chair, and we have both mostly seasoned coordinators from across disciplines, from all different areas, and it's been very positive experience. And people are people respect it. Like the members are very respectful of being a part of the committee, which is now being turned into a council instead of a committee. And we've been able to do so much. Like this last year, the GME office has partnered with the PCLC, Program Coordinator Leadership Council, to put together a professional development series, a lunch and learn series. And also we were able to get a grant for the Cultural North Star grant that was offered from our medical school, from our Cultural North Star, our, I guess, office in the medical school. So they offered this grant, we applied and we got it. So we were able to do this lunch and learn series every month. And then some months we were able to have in-person sessions with, like catered in-person sessions. And then it led to a PC retreat, which was towards the end of the academic year. And we were able to fund that, like a ropes course, a light ropes course, and also promotional swag, which is like a really nice laptop backpack with, says like Team GME on it. And yeah, so
Nice.
yeah.
And so like the coordinators really like it and um,
Yeah, so that was like the main, I would say that was one of the main projects of the PCLC, but they also are doing these great virtual sessions without the GME involved, where the virtual sessions where any program coordinator can jump on and ask a question. And it's just like the dialogue. And one is called Latte Lowdown, and then it's like every other month, and the other one is called Wind Down Wednesdays.
oh,
We also have a lot of resources on campus for meetups, like free meetups. So we did the Hammer Museum, which actually is a really amazing museum on campus. And so we met there for lunch one day. It was just a bring a lunch kind of thing. But then we just took a little walk through the museum afterwards. And then we did, we did a sip and was it sip and stroll? I think it was sip and coffee. That sip and stroll. Yeah. And then the stroll was to one of the coordinators' offices who had like swag bags for everyone. So we did that. And I think there's another museum on campus we're gonna work with. We're gonna try to plan something with. And think there might be a couple other events that I'm not remembering, but just trying to coordinate all of the fun things too, you know?
Yes.
And it's growing. The PCLC is in development, you know, there's so much that we want to do. So yeah.
And that's good for their wellness too, to get out of the office, to get, just to take a break, instead of just being in the office from time they clock in to the time they leave, working, working, working.
Yep.
And so the wellness, and then that's a team building and, just overall fun. I like that.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's advocacy. They can advocate for their position. You know, we're trying to make it so that they are able to advocate more for their position and for like so that people are aware of all the things that they do and how hard um just just the level of complexity of their roles,
yeah.
which they're constantly becoming more complex with all of ACGME's requirements as well. So
Yes, yes, yes. I like that. I like that they can do that and advocate for themselves. I mean, I always say advocate, 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 and think about their wellness and their growth. So do you have like, because I know I talk about, like sitting on committees for growth or for personal or professional development. Um, do you have anything like for in your GME office like that for them, or what's your thought on being on a committee?
well, this committee is definitely for their growth.
Yeah.
There's also we have like within UCLA, there's the staff assembly, which is like a government kind of like a student government and not just student but staff government, which is a great learning opportunity for professional development. And then there's also AMG, which is the administrative managers group. So there's definitely a lot of different professional groups to get involved with. You know, I am on the AMI board, and as a secretary on the AMI board, that's a new role for me, and very involved in content for the social media, LinkedIn and X page, and just trying to spread the word about AMI and all the amazing things going on with AMI.
Mhm,
So,
mhm. Yes, yes, you are. Omni. I remember I was like, oh, you know how like we see each other online, like, LinkedIn or at a meeting or there was another meeting we had together. And then it was like Omni, face to face, finally. And I think you were still working Omni that day. You were trying to record. I was like, okay, she's still working. Um, but it was Omni. I'm like, Omni, yeah, Omni. I'm like, I know she's working. I want to say something, but I don't want to pull her away.
oh yeah, so we were they wanted to put together like some video content. And so last year, the last AMI was all about these video interviews, and which was actually really great. Like we went from 250 followers on our AMI LinkedIn page to I think we're at about close to 700 now. So it made video makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Live video makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you see that with this too, with this kind of.
Yes, yeah. And Omni, I mean, I didn't know about Omni, and then all of a sudden it was like, what is this Omni? And then it just kind of like grew from there, which
Yeah, yeah.
I love the content. I love, what it stands for and helping, the GME grow, give them some knowledge, have them present at conferences. But I love that it's specifically for like the GME, like coordinators, administrators, managers. You have ACGME, which everybody goes, but this right here is carved out just for us. And I think that's what I like about it. It's like I don't have to compete with residents or other faculty, or it's only for us.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
good thing.
I love that too. I've been involved with AMI since, geez, I think probably 2015. So
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah, but it started out to be more just kind of like a sitting back and more of a passive kind of way. And over the years, I've kind of just taken on a little bit more
Mhm.
experience. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I know that's one thing that especially with Omni, I would love to do. Um,
Well,
uh,
that's good to know. All right, we'll be reaching out.
right.
We'll let
because
you
it's like,
move.
it's right up my alley. It's like, that is only for us, you know? So, yeah, when I went to it, when I started really looking, and I'm like, wow, this is it right here. This is, I think that a lot of coordinators, like anybody in the GME community, honestly, should really take advantage of, being an Omni. This is where you grow. You get your professional development. If
Yeah.
you want to start speaking, reach out. Omni is the place for program coordinators in every sense of the word.
Well, one thing I will say is that it is the place for program coordinators, but there's different committees. So there's COPAC, which is for program coordinators and just administrators, right?
Mhm.
There's also COIL, which is for institutional leaders.
Mhm.
There is a council for transitional year programs,
Mhm.
and then there's also a council for faculty development.
Right.
And yeah, so it is for program coordinators, but it's also very much for all pieces of GME, and that's something that we have decided it's really important to make that known, that it's for the entire GME community.
Mhm.
Because we're all learning together. It's just so important for us all to learn together and to share all of our resources together. So yeah.
Right. I think I said in a meeting for the COIL.
Oh yeah.
A lot
Okay.
of there was a couple of faculty members in there. I just wanted to see exactly what it represented, how they are structured, what they talk about.
Mhm.
So it was very informative when I was there. But I
Are you
did.
a member? Are you a member of AMI?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So I think you could probably, I think it's pretty open to be able to join a council if you are interested. So I'll get you some more information.
Thank you.
Sure.
So now I know, since we're at the end of this, I always have a final question. And it's just for fun, right?
Okay.
So if you could only take two things out of your office, and I know a lot of people work from home now, some are hybrid, some are just in the office, but only two things out of your office, however your office is, what would it be if you could only take it on a desert island, right? Desert island, two things, what would it be and why?
Well, what am I doing on the desert island? Am I working on the desert island?
You don't have electricity to plug in a laptop.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's a desert island. It's only you.
But I want to take something from from the office.
Only two things.
Well, these days I really need my readers. And I'm actually going to develop like a really nice designer collection of readers, I think. So okay, so my readers and
She said, I got to be able to see.
my planner, my planner, yeah, I guess my planner.
So what are you going to plan on a desert island? I just want to.
That's a really good point. But it's not, it's more of just, there are a lot of blank pages for writing.
Oh, and then to keep your
Right.
mind focused on not being on a desert island by yourself.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
just
So,
reflecting on it, reflecting on being alone on a desert island.
so when I get off, these are all the things that I want to do because I'm still alive, and here's my bucket list.
Right. I love it.
Oh my goodness, I do understand that. Somebody has said like wine and chocolate. I'm like, okay, okay.
Oh, well, but that's not in your office. You can't bring it from your office.
Oh, they work from home, so their home is
So do
there.
I. I don't have wine in my well, okay. So if the house is the office,
Yeah.
then I want to redo. But okay.
Oh, that I want to redo. I know, and see that's why I asked, because somebody like wine and chocolate. I'm like, how do you have a wet bar? It's like, well, my office is at home, so I'm just gonna grab them. I'm like,
I
like,
love it.
oh, okay.
I love
Yeah, I'm
it.
like, it all depends on your perspective of things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it all just depends on that. Well, Marie, it was great speaking with you today. Thank
You
you so much
too.
for joining and taking the time out to be on GMEAdmin Insights. I really love it. I really appreciate it. We have been trying to get this together for a long time, and I'm glad it finally happened. But we were like busy. I know I was, so I have to apologize for that.
Me too. It's all about juggling.
I
I
know, right?
gotta juggle. Yep.
If
And
you
thank you so much for inviting me. This was
Oh,
fun. It's
yes. I
very
knew
a
I knew
learning
I wanted to
opportunity.
invite you for a while, when I first met you, even I think it was on LinkedIn. Um, yeah, I was like, yeah. I think when you got that promotion or yeah, and I was like, see, she's doing professional growth.
UCLA to UCLA. Oh
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
when you went to UCLA, yeah. I was like, she's doing professional growth. She's growing in her field. I know the GME community likes to hear about people who grow because they really think that the GME is like a dead end field, and it's not. So
Mhm.
having people who have grown within the GME is great to, broadcast to let them know that like there's other opportunities within GME for their growth
But
as well.
you know what? And one thing I want to mention that I didn't mention is learning how to speak in front of people, because I will tell you, I was nervous as I was so for years. I was completely
Mhm.
what's the word? I had such anxiety, and and my voice shook,
Yeah,
and I for
yeah,
years. And I think one day, after so much time and energy and like the anxiety of it all, like I just kind of decided, like, if I want to grow, if I'm going to be able to grow my career and be a leader, I have to learn how to use my voice. And I have to, but it was more about a confidence thing for me,
yeah.
like feeling competent in that imposter syndrome. And
Mm.
so I've really just, I mean, now I think I'm good. I mean, pretty much always, we do a monthly program coordinator meeting. There's about 70, 65, 70 people that attend it, and it's virtual, but like just practice.
Yeah.
But like that is a number one skill,
Yeah.
so that you can get over. Once you can do that, once you decide like I'm gonna do that, I haven't done all platforms, but like once you decide that you're gonna do it, it really just opens up a lot.
It really
Something
does.
that program coordinators should definitely
Yeah.
always think about. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you, Marie. I was the same way and my voice would shake and I'm like, oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel like the more you do it, you get used to it, you get comfortable. And I too, I would push myself, and I used to tell my coordinators this too. If you, even when you go to didactics, at least have something to say. Like get in front of your residents and your faculty and at least have something to say, an announcement or whatever. When you go to GMAT, when you go to these meetings, any meetings you go to, make sure you prepare and have something to say because that will help you elevate your voice. You'll get comfortable talking in front of other people, and then and you'll get noticed. I mean, too, you'll get noticed, but always having something to say and speaking will help you when you need to either be on that stage for a presentation, right? When you need to lead a meeting. If you
Mhm.
become a director, lead your team, you've got to be able to talk to people.
Right. So important. Yep.
So important. Yeah, that's so important. I'm glad you brought that up because you can't like grow if you don't put yourself out there. Yep.
No, because you cower, like it's so easy to like when there's, when there's somebody's proposing a question or they're looking for a volunteer, it's so easy to kind of shrink back. And I think a lot of times people do that, and it's just
Especially when you know what is right. Like if you have the answer, if someone says that, if someone says something or asks a question, even if it's to the group, and no one's answering, right? But you have the question, you know what you can say, how you can help somebody, and you don't, right? Like you have to be able to use your voice.
yeah, so true.
You have to be able to use your voice. I'm glad you brought that out. So if listeners want to get in contact with you, what is the best way they can reach out to you?
I think just on LinkedIn. Yeah, my LinkedIn, Marie Hugley on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That is the best way for professional connecting.
Yes, yes. I think LinkedIn is like the professional Facebook, or what have you.
Mm.
But I love LinkedIn. So you heard it,
Yeah.
GME community. If you want to reach out to Marie Hugley, contact her on her LinkedIn. She's my connection, and so like reach out to her and ask her questions if you have it. If you have any additional questions for her, she's there. Great. So today
I'm ready.
she's ready.
I'm ready.
We've been speaking with Marie Hugley, another boss babe, handling her business and growing and networking along the way. Reach out to her on her LinkedIn if you want to connect with her, if you're not connected with her already. And with that, that concludes another enlightening episode. But remember that your dedication keeps the gears of GME turning and your growth matters. So until next time, community, I am out. I think I found her. She's